With a vengeance. It's hot and humid here at Headingley, and the action on the field will, I'm sure, match the temperature. We're told that Leeds has been the warmest place in Britain today, so join us after the break for Leeds Rhinos against Warrington Wolves. Meet the big disappointers of '97. Leeds have moved to second in Super League while Warrington's form has slumped. Such is the expectation at Headingley these days that many people see this as a certain home win. Darryl van der Velde won't be one of them. The new Warrington coach said this week his players aren't up to scratch, but there's no cash for replacements. So he's gone back to the drawing board, and Martin Dermott, who was sacked with several others just a week into the new season, has been offered another chance. While Willie Swan, their scrum half throughout all of '96, is another grasping the olive branch. Swan returns to the bench here. And they're also doing a U-turn about Matti Akimafi, the winger who was once an Olympic sprinter. How they would love another chance at Iestyn Harris, but 9 months of acrimony for the Welsh international ended with his move to Leeds, and he faces his former club for the first time just over a year after setting Super League alight with this wonder try. Harris won instant admiration from the Headingley terraces with his first touch in Leeds colours, setting up Phil Hassan's try against Wigan. And here's another man who's come of age in '97. Phil Hassan was singled out by coach Dean Bell this week as an example of what hard-working training can do. And Mean Dean knows a win here will have his men in good heart for their trip to Australia. Yes, indeed, Leeds will head off down under, leading the race to catch the Bradford Bulls if they win. This is the way Super League table looks as we approach this weekend's games. Bradford still out in front with their 100% record intact. Wigan are now third, London fourth, and the champion St Helens are fifth. Down at the bottom, Castleford, Paris Saint-Germain, Oldham and Warrington, ominously near the foot of the table, the Warrington Wolves. Well, a week from now, we will be getting you ready for the biggest World Club Championship that any sport has ever seen, when Rugby League takes on the other side of the world. The Super League will be battling with the Super League from Australia. But right now, it's Super League Championship points that are at stake. Leeds are the one club that is leading the rest who have designs on St Helens' crown. And talking of St Helens, Sean McRae, their coach, joins us in the studio here tonight. We will talk, Sean, about this game briefly in a moment or two, but we must, I think, before we go any further, talk to you about what on earth is happening at St Helens. You had the huge disappointment against Wigan earlier in the week, and we all woke up to the headlines this morning to hear that Chris Joynt is the latest big name to want to move away from you. What on earth's gone wrong?
Well, I think it's just a combination of minor problems that have all of a sudden manifested and snowballed themselves into major problems, and of course, you know, our game is rife with rumour and innuendo anyway, and when you're not performing well on the field, a lot of things come to fruition, and I think people are quite happy to create problems that are not necessarily existing at all. Chris has spoken to me, and I don't think he really does want away. I think it's a case of the press have picked up on something, and you know, it's made a good story for people, and you know, Chris is a very integral part of our side, and he provides a lot of leadership qualities on the field and off the field. He's a thorough professional, and I'm sure that we'll be able to sit down with Chris and sort whatever problems, you know, there are out. But as I said, it simply does boil down to the injury factor, and whilst I'm not a person that likes to use that as excuses and reasons, when you look at the calibre of players that are not playing and haven't played for the last month or so, it's made it very, very difficult. But we're all responsible and accountable, and we'll ride this out and we'll be back.
Well, it looks, on the face of it, to those people like us looking into the Goldfish Bowl, that you're hitting a crisis, but you say no.
No, it's not a crisis, Eddie. What it is, we won very well at Wembley about a month ago, and you've got to question what's going on in the place, because we're on a bit of a downslide at the moment. But look, it's nothing that the clubs don't go through. Every club goes through it. It's a rough time, and it simply is the fact that we've got a full-time squad of 24 players, and I've probably got 6 players at the moment that can take the field without any injury problem. I've got 10 players that can't take the field at all. So, you know, whilst everybody plays with injury and clubs have it, I think we've just been hit really tough at the moment over the last few weeks. I took players into the Wembley game that probably shouldn't have played. Now, it was a gamble that worked. So, as I said, I'm responsible for that. I make those decisions along with the players, and I accept what's happening at the moment, but it will change, and, you know, I'll guarantee people that St Helens will be back. And we're certainly not whilst it might be difficult to catch Bradford, we're still going to compete for the, to even come second in this championship, because we know we won't. I think Bradford they're in a situation on their own, and I think they're going to be very hard to peg back. But it's not as bad as what people are making out.
Well, it's a bit of a problem that Sean has got, but he's obviously confident that things are going to be all right, and we hope so as well, from a British game point of view, from a European point of view, because this time next week, the game we'll be building to is the Saints against Auckland Warriors, the first match in the World Club Championship up here in Europe. Next Friday, 7 o'clock, we'll be at Knowsley Road with Sean and the boys, taking on the Auckland Warriors. Steve-O, you listened intently there, and it was a long time before you have been able to make a comment. But you've heard what he says. We obviously take him at face value and what he says.
Well, we have to, haven't we? He's had the experience in the past, and it's the first time that he's hit something of a little bit of a bump, and it's turned into a really big mountain. It's something that they've got to overcome. But the problem that I find with St Helens at the moment, not only have they got the injury problems, but they seem to have lost the will to win. They seem to have lost the spark. Now, Bobby Goulding, to me, has not played well throughout the season. Now, they say that he's carrying an injury. Is that the case, or is he just off form?
Well, Steve, I think we'll all remember that Bobby Goulding was suspended at the start of the year, which didn't set him off too well. And, of course, it takes a while to come back in and get your timing right. And Bobby has got a hernia problem and does require repair surgery. Now, we're trying to ride that out as well. We're trying to get Bobby to get through matches, and obviously we've got to monitor his training and limit his preparation, but that doesn't account for poor form from other players as well. And I think Bobby's a player, like most halfbacks, they thrive on other players playing well. And, a lot of people expect. Bobby Goulding is a high-profile person, so he's an easy person to go to.
Of course, but I mean, has it ever crossed your mind perhaps that you wanted to, say, take the captaincy off him to get the spark back?
Oh no, we've won plenty of games with him as captain. I'm quite happy with him at the moment. But I mentioned Chris Joint's a great leader as well, and he is, and they work very well as captain and vice-captain. I'm quite happy with the situation.
OK, that's the St Helens situation then, and we hope that we've put the record straight as far as that's concerned. Right, let's now move on and look at this game that we're featuring tonight, Leeds Rhinos against the Warrington Wolves. It's been quite a week, hasn't it, at Warrington? 3 men who were sacked just 7 days into the brand new season. They have been courted and reinstated by the Warrington Wolves, and among them, one man who at one stage in his career was regarded as the best hooker in the world.
Could only got more than Steve-O.
9-week-old Olivia Dermott has seen plenty of her dad Martin lately. He's been around a lot since being freed by Warrington. Martin's wife Nicola gave birth to their daughter just 2 days before his third and last game for Warrington, the 58-20 defeat at Bradford. He, Willie Swan and Matiaki Maffey were promptly axed, but now Warrington's new coach, Darryl van der Velde, has recalled all 3 players.
I couldn't believe it, It was unbelievable, he's shaking my hand and asking who I am, And it was like Vietnam, it was like flashbacks, I think I've seen this place before. But it was too kidding light out, and, he's back to the grandstone and getting back in the shot window. I was pretty happy with my game when I left, and it's not got me down, and I'm back into full training, and I've never been as fit in my life.
29-year-old Dermott won every honour with Wigan. And
they're second in the table. They can score plenty. They have a poor defence too. A worse record than Salford, who are 7th in the table at the moment. 52 tries they've scored. Hope you can hear me over all this. Anthony Farrell's the top tackler, and Martin Masella, their prop forward, is the man who gets them going forward. And Yestin Harris just going through the screen. I bet he's looking forward to this. He faces his former club for the first time since his move. The Leeds team: St Helens the fullback, Sterling, Blackmore, Hassan and Cummins, Harris and Sheridan. Forwards: Masella, Collins, McDermott, Hay and Farrell, Newton the loose forward. Bench: Morley, Holroyd, Matthew and Hughes. Coach, of course, Dean Bell. Warrington: Penny at fullback, Wingfield, Roper, Vagana and Forster, Shelford and Breers, Stevens, Heighton, Chambers, Mann, Tatupu and Hume, and Willie Swan, Geraitis, Thornley and Liam Bretherton, number 40, for coach Darryl van der Velde. Match referee is John Connolly, just about ready. beautiful conditions, shirt sleeve for the crowd and the coach, Leeds Dean Bell, taking his accustomed place in the main stand here at Headingley. So great atmosphere as the players emerged, and it's now up to them to carry us through over the next 80 minutes. Leeds looking for a boost before they jet off down under to the World Championship. Warrington, really, they're just looking for a boost. And Lee Breers is going to get this game in motion. Breers kicks off. And underneath it, Brian Sheridan, who goes into his own in-goal area, then tips the pass back on the inside. That's Andy Hay. First time we've seen Andy Hay in Leeds colours since his move from Sheffield Eagles. And there's Paul Sterling now. Paul Sterling, if he scores tonight, will equal the 1996 record of Paul Newlove, record of tries in 9 games in a row if he crosses the whitewash here. Let's take a look at the way these two sides have shaped up over the years. Played 48, and it's even Steven, 23 wins apiece, and both have won 8 on each other's opposing ground. Penalty, meanwhile, to Leeds.
Chris Heighton, the culprit, not allowing the man to get up and play the football. Barry McDermott trying to get up as quick as he can, but I'm afraid the hooker, Chris Heighton, just all over the top. Silly penalty to give away early in the match.
Here's Harris, tries to put McDermott through the gap. McDermott pops the ball up to Marcus St. Hilaire. Good movement by Leeds early on. Richie Blackmore gets the ball away to Terry Newton. Newton gets the pass to his captain for the night, Wayne Collins, and Gary Chambers coming in quickly with the tackle. Warrington will be glad to see him back. Harris with space, he finds Sheridan. Sheridan back on the inside to Phil Hassan. That's a good tackle though from George Mann. George Mann, of course, formerly with Leeds. He arrived at Warrington during the close season. Good crunching tackle again from Gary Chambers. Warrington have had their prop forward problems this year, and they'd be delighted to see him back in action, the big Cumbrian, Gary Chambers. But Leeds are in the danger zone. This is Harris. He will hoist the kick out wide. It's a hanging kick as well. Who wants it? Leeds get it, but
offside.
He was offside, Terry Newton.
Well, the tactics were good. It was a high kick, could have gone anywhere. But you can see that Newton was just standing in front, came off the full back, Marcus St. Hilaire. Well weighted, plenty of height. You can see it gave the Leeds attackers plenty of opportunity to get there.
Warrington then in possession for the first time since the match started. There's Warren Stevens, and Lee Penny wanted the pass, but the pass never came.
Good defence though. Blackmore got over the top. Great ball.
Lovely ball. This is Vagana. He's caught though by Blackmore and Vagana. That will be one of the great confrontations as well. Formerly both of them with Auckland Warriors.
Good play by the Kiwi Blackmore. Vagana is no slouch, has got plenty of speed. Look at the strength there from Blackmore. Just bundle him over like a rag doll.
It's Leeds who have head and feed at the scrum. The referee ruled that Vagana had knocked on. Richie Blackmore, the man who caught him and dragged him towards the touchline, and Blackmore, the man who kept Nigel Vagana in reserve grade at Auckland in 1996. So that will be another clash to relish. Harris against Shelford is another.
This will be a key area for Leeds. A run from dummy half from Wayne Collins. Make sure that the Warrington second markers have to work.
Here's Harris. He drew Breers to him and popped a lovely ball up into the arms of Newton. Terry Newton's got support out wide. It reaches Cummins for the line, but that's good tackling back by Wingfield. But a super attack launched by Harris, who's in possession again. Sheridan, they want the ball out wide. Sheridan's going on his own.
Beautiful jinking run by the little halfback.
It was the power play. That's the turnover on the last tackle.
But what a beautiful pass from Euston Harris. The loose forward, Terry Newton, down on that left-hand side, on the blind side. Short little pass. And the loose forward was through.
Warrington managed to scramble and get the ball back though, and that's a mistake from John Roper.
Took his eyes off the football. This is a break. You can see it was a short pass there. The loose forward did well. See how he moved the ball across his chest so he could hand off with his right arm. Got the ball out there to Francis Cummings, who's in fine form. It's taking him a while to get over a few injury problems.
As a result of the drop ball by Roper, it's Leeds who are back in possession. St. Hilaire just was ankle tapped by his opposite number. Play on. He wasn't held. He's stopped now, though, 3 metres short of the line. Blackmore again, the dummy half. It's with Harris. Harris misses out two and finds Sheridan. They've got men out wide, but Farrell goes up the middle. Hassan in support. Great tackling back by Heighton, and he pinched the ball.
Must have been very close to a forward past that. Didn't he do well to relieve the football off him? Well, all action from Leeds. They're finding the gaps early in this match.
Shelford, good ball out wide. Tatupu tried to get the pass away, but that's good defence. He got a hand on it, Blackmore.
Went backwards, good refereeing by John Connolly there. But great defence again by Richie Blackmore.
So yet more pressure on this Warrington line. It's been incessant really since the first whistle. This is Hassan! Hassan's got the pace! Drags the ball back on the inside to Cummings. That's a super try! Francis Cummings linking brilliantly there with Phil Hassan, and it was a stroll into the line for Cummings.
All class. The link out wide. Harris just threw the dummy. You can see how they went through. Wingfield was left standing. Beautiful inside pass from Hassan. We mentioned before the game that Phil Hassan, probably the most improved player in Super League. Look at this. Perfect time pass from Harris. And another perfectly timed pass from Hassan. He committed the fullback lead penny. It's an easy stroll for Cummings. The high shot will show you how Wingfield was left on his own. See how two went for Harris. Look at the step by Hassan. He explodes, and the way that he brings the man back on the inside. Good combination. Wonderful centre play with his wing partner. The crowd will rise to that one. That was just superb rugby league football at its best.
Great stuff from Francis Cummings, the England international. 2 tries in the last home game against Paris Saint-Germain. Leeds back on home territory for the first time since May the 5th. And off to a great start. 68% successful this year, Iestyn Harris. And that will do the ratio no harm at all. 2 more points for Leeds, who are ahead 6-0.
2 defenders get sucked to Harris, and look at the way that Hassan step on the inside. Poor Wingfield was left in no man's land, 2-on-1. That was just superb rugby league football.
Francis Cummings, his 8 tries in Super League 2 now. A try in the win at Warrington in the Challenge Cup last year. But the way Leeds are getting stuck in here, and Blackmore in particular, he really did take Warren Stevens out there, but the way they're getting stuck in, it augurs well, but it doesn't augur well for Darrell van der Velde, the Warrington coach.
Well, you could see the prop forward, Warren Stevens, look up and see that it was Richie Blackmore, the centre. Thought, surely that must have been a forward that hit me then. It wasn't.
George Mann, who played standoff, it looked like he lost that ball. But the referee allows Warrington to play on. They need charity like that. This is Tatupu. Good tackling again. Blackmore really is taking the battle.
He didn't lose it. He definitely lost that football.
Leeds now have just conceded a penalty, though.
2-on-1, they pinched the ball away from Tatupu. Well, the big second rower was nothing better than to run out wide. 2 men in attendance. Tatupu pleads to the John Connolly, the referee. Gets the penalty.
5th last year, Warrington. They look to have lost their way in 1997. Chambers plays the ball. That was Heighton, and this is Stevens taking on Anthony Farrell. Collins coming in to finish him off. Breers switches the direction of play. Shelford, lovely step from Shelford. Martin Masella with the tackling. Now Heighton again. Scampering run from dummy half. Hauled down by Terry Newton. Shelford in at dummy half now. This is Breers. They're getting ever closer, Warrington. That was a lovely bit of play, but it was well watched by Anthony Farrell. They're going out down the blind side again.
That's a power play.
Yes, and the defence standing firm against Paul Hume.
Just didn't have enough strength there. There were too many defenders. But nice work, though. Good build-up by Warrington. That will certainly lift their confidence.
Both sides have run the ball on the power play. That's on the last tackle. Once each. Tremendous run. Driving run. And this is a prop forward. Masella, he's got Sheridan. That's a super tackle back. Good job that Lee Penny stretched out the arm then. But this is St. Hilaire. Stevens working hard in defence. Collins to Harris. Leeds are rampant at the moment. Harris standing, getting the ball away. McDermott shaped then for a drop goal. Now he gets up steam. Look at this. Terrific try from McDermott. He fooled them all. Shaped to take a drop goal attempt and then just got up ahead of steam, and he would not be denied. Great try from McDermott. His second of 1997.
This is how it all started. Beautiful break. Tremendous stuff here. Wonderful break. And they were all trying to get converged back on the inside. Wonderful tackle by Lee Penny on Ryan Sheridan. But from here, McDermott, he looks as though he's going to go for the one-pointer. Uh-oh. Off he goes. You talk of a defensive line hanging back. They didn't expect that. And I safely say that one Barry McDermott will be thinking, why on earth did they give me so much room? That is a wonderful try. He dummied and shuffled. It looked as though he was going to go for the drop goal.
Probably would have been an even bigger surprise if he'd have gone for it, Steve-O.
What a tremendous effort, though. I think the crowd was stunned.
Warrington certainly were. That's the second try they've conceded. Harris from exactly the same position as he kicked just before. So he knows the range and knows what's needed. Comes up with the goods. Leeds 12, Warrington 0.
Look at the defence. And there's only John Connolly, the referee, in that gap. They failed to fill it in. Stevens was slow, so was Lee Penny. Not this guy, though. That is a wonderful effort by the prop forward. Determination etched on his face. You like that one?
Great try. Leeds up and running. And the way that they're playing, they will go to Australia in great heart. No one at Headingley has ever suggested that Leeds are possible champions, but everyone is, I think, relieved that 96 is consigned to the memory bank when they finish second bottom. Dean Bell, the coach, is fashioning a team here that at the moment is second top, and if they win tonight will stay second top right the way through the World Championship. But Warrington trying to exploit down this side. Vagana, support arrives from Shelford. Shelford trying to outmuscle Ryan Sheridan, and Sheridan doing well. Tatupu, the dummy half. This is now Breers, who spins the ball into the arms of Roper. Roper taking on Hassan. Hassan sticking to him, and Cummins coming in to apply the coup de grace. High kick from Breers. No real pressure on St. Hilaire. He dealt with it well. He dealt with it very well.
Plenty of time. Good work also by the winger Paul Sterling. He came across and protected him, and Sterling now takes the ball away. Well, that break by Nigel Vagana for Warrington really does give them a chance. This ball out on the left-hand side. There's a couple of breaks that they've made, so they're still in with a chance here.
14 minutes of the match gone, and Leeds ahead by 12 points to 0, and Harris again bringing Newton back on the inside. Sheridan will scamper away from dummy half, but Warrington Offside at that play of the ball. They didn't retreat the 10 metres necessary. John Connolly's pinged them.
Plenty to choose from there as well, but John Connolly allowed the advantage. If it had made the clean break, it would have said, play on. Good refereeing again.
George Mann, the former Leeds forward, in the second row tonight. He was originally down to play prop, but then Ian Knott went down with suspected appendicitis. And so Darrell van der Velde had to rejig things once again. Sheridan to Harris. Harris just applied the brakes, came back on the inside. Again, he has that ability to stand and pass, and this is St. Hilaire. And Tatupu scrambles to bring him down and does. Wayne Collins is the dummy half. Now Sheridan. Sheridan back on the inside to Newton.
Watch Harris bring someone back on the angle.
Harris has it now. Takes the return. Out wide it goes to Cummins. Lovely run from Cummins. Got round the first man, and luckily for Warrington, John Roper was there and held on. Here's Harris again. Everything revolves round Harris for Leeds. Ball pops up to Farrell. Now it comes this way with Sheridan. Here now is Andy Hay and Richie Blackmore. Quick hands. Sterling. Sterling is in. And that's 9 games in a row now for Paul Sterling. Tries in 9 games in a row for Sterling. But the referee has noticed that his touch judge is standing some 13-14 metres away. And I think he's going to pull this one back for a forward pass. The try not been given. No try. He's had a word with the touch judge, and he's seen a forward pass in back play here.
Well, I don't know where he's seen it. He's on his way, Sterling. Blackmore, the centre, fed it out. That looks okay, and this looks okay. Well, I don't know why.
Well, they've all seen it. They have all seen that on the big screen here at Headingley, and as you can tell from the reaction in the background, the Leeds supporters not happy. So Paul Sterling was celebrating his 9th game in a row in which he scored a try. That has just been wiped off.
Well, we saw the high angle, and it looked okay for me.
Terrific tackle by
This
Hay.
is the pass out wide, and that looks okay. Sterling stood himself back, made sure of that. Well, I think the winger has been robbed of 4 points there, and maybe the record that Eddie was just talking about.
Breers, and they shout for that now to be forward, or judged so by John Connolly.
Well, I think we'll get that every time now by the Leeds fans. Far from impressed. Nice kick by Vagana. At least it puts them into the Leeds red zone.
Well, crowds are building up again here at Headingley. Let's hear from the Leeds injured captain Gary Mercer, who's on the touchline with Bill.
Gary, great start from Leeds, but you're just saying that this is exactly what you did last weekend.
Yeah, Bill, we did this last week, and we let ourselves down by letting Castleford back in the side. So hopefully the boys can learn from what last week and just consolidate from now on.
What about that Barry McDermott try?
We won't hear the end of that, I'll tell you. It was a great try. Barry did well there. I thought he was going to go for a drop goal, and he memorised everyone else and scored a try.
The one man who does seem to be causing you problems from Warrington is Nigel Vagana.
Yes, I mean, they've got some good halves, Magana and Shelford. If we can close them down, especially out wide, I think we've got a good chance. We've got to be wary of them out wide, because they're going to throw it wide every time they've got a chance.
Gary Mercer just referring there to the fact that in their last 2 games, last week against Castleford and previous to that against Oldham, they looked home and hosed, but then they let the sides back into the match. They don't look in the mood to do it this time, but there are maybe 1 or 2 question marks that can Leeds last for the full 80 minutes. I'm sure they're going to try and hammer the message home here tonight that they can. Blackmore, Cummins has just overran the pass.
Well, that certainly went backwards, but it went to nobody. Well, he's creating so much havoc, isn't he, Richie Blackmore? The combination in the centres of Blackmore and Hassan really is on fire.
And lost the ball there, Penny. And he's hurt. What's more, this is Sterling now. Good tackling by Highton.
Well, you see as Penny hit the deck.
Harris! Scrambling defence again from Warrington.
Flop there by Stevens.
And it's a penalty to Leeds right in front of the posts.
It was very late indeed. You could see that the tackle had been completed. Didn't need the extra bit of beef from the prop forward Stevens.
Warren Stevens developing in Super League now, but penalised then for dropping on the grounded player, and it allows Iestyn Harris the chance for his third kick at goal.
I must say, Eddie, I'm so impressed with the way that Leeds have started out in the opening 20 minutes. The forwards are working very hard, they're sharing the work, but the combination, and this guy, the way that he's just flicking the ball out wide, bringing people on the angle is superb.
Harris with the penalty, bang in front, he doesn't make mistakes from there. Leeds increase their advantage to 14 points. Leeds 14, Warrington 0, and I can tell you that their next home game for Leeds will be a very big match indeed, right at the top of the table, and it will come towards the back end of next month when the World Championship is over and dusted for a wee while. It's Bradford Bulls who are the visitors here, and you'll be able to see that with us Sunday the 29th of June, 7:30 on Sky Sports 1. That will, by the looks of things, be second against top in Super League.
Cheeky little kick-off there by Iestyn Harris, but John Connolly would have none of it and said, wait until I blow the whistle, wait until I tell you. Well, not so much a merry whistleblower as far as Iestyn Harris is concerned.
Referee happy now, and Gary Chambers will run this ball back. Good chase though by Leeds. Collins and Newton in there quickly. This now is Warren Stevens. Great tackle. Harris halted him and Hassan finished him off. Now George Mann escapes the clutches of two. Breers into the arms again of Vagana, who's causing them problems.
Good scrambling cover defence there by Hay. As I mentioned earlier, this Leeds side are really working for each other.
That's a lovely break though from Breers. He went maybe the wrong way because Paul Hume, his captain, was steaming up on his right-hand side. He came this way though. Little chip over the top from Shelford. A race here for Vagana, and they did not touch it. Leeds defenders did not touch it, and so that will be a tap on the Leeds 20.
Pretty cool from the Leeds full-back, Senelaer. Just stepped over the top.
Collins again into the arms of Harris, who's taking them on now up the middle. Lee Penny hauls him down. Here's Sheridan, and now Masella. Prop forward doing the hard work. Harris to Andy Hay.
Watch for the link out wide now. Now they're going blind.
Collins to Blackmore. The news doesn't get any better for Warrington. Chris Highton, who went off to be replaced by Willie Swan. He has a wrist injury. It could be broken, is the word from the touchline. Whoa! Try! Or did Cummings drop it? The referee wants to allow the video ref the opportunity to take a look at this. A real mess by the defender.
Well, Paul Wingfield made a meal of it, and it looks all right for mine. It's a beautiful kick over by Ryan Sheridan, and I'm afraid the winger Paul Wingfield had all the time in the world to defuse this, but he failed miserably, and I don't see anything wrong in my eyes with watching that, and I'm sure that Francis Cummings is pretty confident too.
He's looking at the big screen, as we all are. Here's the verdict from the video ref. 4 more points to Leeds, courtesy of Francis Cummings.
Beautiful kick it was from Ryan Sheridan. Forwards have done all the hard work on the blind side. We spoke of the link. Look at that beautiful pass out wide from Harris. Sheridan punches it in. Oh, and what a meal, unfortunately, the youngster Paul Wingfield made of that. But full credit, though, they worked hard for this in Leeds. Beautiful long ball out wide by Harris. He's in everything. Perfectly weighted kick. Wingfield did everything right up until this moment, and Cummins poaches 4 points. Missed it completely. Realises nothing he can do about that. But let's give credit to the quick thinking of Ryan Sheridan and also the winger Francis Cummins.
Yes, he was silver-heeled then, wasn't he, Francis Cummins? Waiting for the mistake that arrived from Wingfield. And so Iestyn Harris hasn't missed with one yet, 3 out of 3, but this the most difficult to date. Trying to punish his former club even more for that error. Swings the ball in towards the posts. First one he's missed. Drops out of the wild blue yonder and just goes wide of the post. Relief, I suppose, for Van der Velde that the kick wasn't successful, but no relief in that scoreline. Leeds ahead by 18 points to 0. Other games, of course, taking place this evening in Super League, and we will bring you news of those games in a few moments. Here comes a substitution for Warrington. Tony Thornley has come on. Wingfield is withdrawn after making the big blunder. Wingfield only 18, and Warrington now have got a penalty.
Richie Blackmore messing around at the play the ball area. Well, the youngster will learn. Holding down there, Blackmore. Paul Wingfield. Didn't surprise me that the Warrington coach Daniel Van der Velde reefed him off straight away. There's no point in applying even more pressure. He doesn't have to be told, and he's made a big error.
Great defence. Andy Hay and Richie Blackmore and Tony Tatupu was dumped to the ground. And he's lost that. The ball is lost. Big effort by Newton and Collins, and Warren Stevens couldn't hang on to it.
Tremendous effort. Collins in first, and then the loose forward Terry Newton came to finish him off. And look at that. Bang. Plenty of effort. Most impressed the way that Leeds in their defensive pattern. It's like the umbrella defence. They're coming in quickly out wide.
Blackmore now. Stevens gets the tackle in on him this time. Some scores for you. Oldham 6-2 up against Castleford after half an hour. Wigan 14-2 against Paris. And London, we understand, have kicked off half an hour late at the Stoop, so they're just about kicking off now. So we won't get news of them for a wee while yet.
I went backward. Good refereeing there by Connolly. There's good defence by George Mann really got into the prop forward, Barry McDermott.
Willie Swan, a dummy half, Gary Chambers. Oh, Stevens drops the ball again. And that was a knock-on, says John Connolly, even though it appeared to go backwards. But John Connolly said the initial knock was forward, so Warrington are, I'm afraid, contributing to their own downfall here. 18-0 down, 27.5 minutes played. Harris. Here's St Hilaire. They look in good spirits for the tests to come in the World Championship. Do Leeds. Certainly playing with a lot more fluidity than they were this time last year, when they really didn't come to grips with Super League and summer football, but they're managing it now. Second in the table, that really speaks for itself, and the new signings that they've made, he is one of them, Anthony Farrell. Absolutely crucial to the Leeds rebuilding programme. Sheridan to Harris, maybe the catalyst here at Leeds. Lovely ball to Hay, and Hay is held up by Lee Penny. Last tackle. McDermott Second effort, gets the try. Barry McDermott. 2 tries for him. McDermott with all the strength in the world from 2 metres. He just reached out the arm and plonked it over the line.
Well, Justin Harris is mesmerising the defence. This is how it was finished off. It was Harris that made the build-up. Good work, though, by the prop forward, Barry McDermott. It was a good tackle by Lee Penny on Hay. Harris had sent the big second rower through, and McDermott said, I've got the strength. Harris, see how it just holds the football. Hay came through at the right moment. Quick play of the ball, and good refereeing again by Connolly. He could have penalised Penny there, but he didn't. He allowed the advantage. The result, a try. Second try for McDermott. This is the skill again of Harris. See how it just holds the football. Notice how the defence, they just hang back. Like the magician with the wand. This guy is mesmerising Warrington.
What's more, he's added 2 more points to the total. Leeds are ahead by 24 points to 0. Justin Harris. I think you picked it last time we were here, Steve. I remember when we talked about Welsh internationals that maybe will be catalyst, and you mentioned Lewis Jones.
Well, he's certainly taking that mantle, isn't he? He is all talent. There's the replay again of McDermott's try. Look how he throws the dummy. See how they just hang off. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? I'll tell you what it is. The delayed run by the second rower, Andy Hay.
Well, Warrington should know about Justin Harris better than most. They discovered him, of course, Warrington. It was a love affair that was doomed, and 9 months ago he fell out with the club, and now he is very much part and parcel of the furniture here. But another mistake by Warrington.
Well, he just lost the football, or was it taken out?
Well, Mark Forster claims it was stolen from him in a 2-man tackle.
Pretty hard to see from there. It just squeezed out. Could have been the impact, perhaps, that went underneath him. But it's a way that Justin Harris, who often was found wanting, he was a little bit lazy at times, but now, since he's been at Leeds, he's eager to get himself involved. Gets in first man, sometimes takes it second man, long ball out wide. He really is orchestrating this team very well indeed.
And that was his pass then to McDermott, who got the ball away under pressure to Sterling. Sterling is tackled by Nigel Vagana. Wayne Collins in at dummy half. Here's Sheridan. He links again with Harris inevitably, and Harris with the sidestepping run. And that's straight into the arms of Lee Breers. And then Roper. But Warrington, it looks like it's a bar of soap they're playing with, I'm afraid.
Well, a little bit overconfident there, Leeds, trying to keep that ball alive, but you can't blame them at 24-0.
Chambers and Paul Hume are down in back play. The Warrington side are certainly in the wars. Chris Heighton, who, by the way, was their 7th hooker that they've used this year. He's off the field with a wrist problem, suspected break, and there's bodies down all over the place. But Paul Hume, thankfully, is back up on his feet as the kick downfield is collected by Sterling. And the winger gets out of trouble well.
Good kick and chase there, though, and good work by Lee Breers. They haven't had many opportunities, Warrington, but they have made quite a few breaks.
Penalty. Paul Hume, fierce competitor, the Warrington captain, but just using the leg second time.
Got to move away, and you'll see that the experience of Hume trying to slow things down so that the defence can get back one straight line of defence.
Gary Chambers leaves the field.
Well, he's a revitalised man, this fella, isn't he? Barry McDermott looking for work.
Harris, lovely ball to Newton. Newton went without the ball. Sheridan couldn't drop on that because he would have been offside. Andy Hay got to it, but the referee pulls them for the knock-on.
Loose forward had that ball reefed away. So this will be classed as a knock-on by Leeds, so it'll be head and feed. But again, we see Harris creating things. Newton coming back on the inside.
Here's Vagana now. Good tackling by Hay. Andy Hay was under Darrell van der Velde in his Castleford days. The fourth member of the Sheffield Eagles side to follow Gary Hetherington to Headingley.
Good defence again. Newton again. And before that, it was a big hit by Martin Masella. So important if your forwards are working hard for each other.
Handling errors level pegging at 6 each. Shelford to Breers. Long pass. Mrs. Garaitis just on for the injured Chambers.
Nice
he
little
popped up
dummy.
out of nowhere.
Nice little dummy as well.
Breers again to Shelford. Shelford to Hume, who bounces off the considerable frame of McDermott. That was the last tackle, and that's the turnover.
I don't know who come off worse. But good work by Paul Hume. He bounced away from McDermott and was taken away on that power play. Well, plenty of effort by Warrington, but nothing to show for it. But let's credit this Leeds scrambling defence. They're working overtime. Leave that scoreline nilled.
News of Gary Chambers, the latest walking wounded from Warrington. He's got concussion. 24-0. Leeds ahead. Harris. Again, he unloads the ball in the tackle to Sheridan.
Good work by Breers there. They got him between them so that Sheridan couldn't offload that football.
McDermott, tackled by Roper.
Now then, will they use the kick? They haven't used it. Remember, Warrington facing the sun.
Little grubber into touch from Wayne Collins, the Australian hooker in the Leeds side from the South Queensland Crushers. He really made his name though at St George.
Good worker. Really is a solid player. Skipper today, Wayne Collins. Been around a while. There's the experience. But I'm surprised that Leeds haven't used a high kick as yet. Sun is quite strong still.
And Richie Blackmore almost drilled the Warrington man into the ground. Tony Kemp is the water carrier for Leeds this evening. Just came on and had a little word in the ear of one Iestyn Harris. Tony Kemp been out of the side, injured for much of this season. But he's obviously doing a good job. Keeping spirits up. A little flick of the finger there by Blackmore. The referee will pull them back for the knock-on.
Head and feed to Warrington. Well, they're desperate to get a score now. Tatupu has done well. Likes to run out wide, just off the fringe, in amongst the centres. But even though they've made those half breaks, the defensive qualities of Leeds to get back and cover has been quite remarkable.
Vagana tipped the ball back on the inside to Thornley, who nearly dropped it again on the first tackle, but held on. This here is Sean Garaitis again. Shelford to Tatupu. Blackmore came flying out of the line looking to bring him down. Tatupu did well, but couldn't get away from Paul Sterling. Now Mark Forster. 16 years or thereabouts at Warrington, his only club, Mark Forster. Great servant. Breers to Shelford. Out wide it goes to Roper. Good run from Roper, good strong run from the centre. Last tackle here. Warrington so close. Little kick from Shelford though is straight into the arms of Andy Hay.
Nothing kick really. It should have been pushed into the ground. Interference at the play of the ball. All that hard work. They're now going to be marched back at least 15 to 20 metres. Vagana interfering as they try to get up and play that football. Not the best kick though from Leeds. Either way, they still regain possession.
Leeds with a massive lead on the penalty count. 8 penalties to 2 they have been given by John Connolly.
Good work again by the hooker Collins.
Harris, the Warrington defence is hanging off Iestyn Harris, and he's got all the time in the world to get passes in like that to Sterling, and here comes Sterling now onto the halfway line for Paul Sterling. He's only failed to score in 2 games so far this year. 11 tries from 15 appearances, not bad for Paul Sterling, who was playing this time last year for Hunslet.
Talking of not bad, good effort by Senalea, the full back.
Oh, and Tatupu drops the kick. It's 6 to go.
No one there to apply the pressure. Just lost the concentration.
It was a diagonal kick from Harris. This now is Sheridan. Lee Penny having to work overtime in defence again. Blackmore, the dummy half, gets it to Terry Newton. Newton has got the penalty for a swinging arm by George Mann. Leeds get another penalty, and they're running this penalty, not kicking. Sheridan, out wide it goes to Farrell. Farrell tries to come back on the inside. Roper did well.
Did he ever? Beautiful tackle by Jonathan
McDermott
Roper.
for the hat-trick. Going for the hat-trick, McDermott.
Short.
Just short.
Only inches.
Don't play to yourself.
Leeds will come again with Harris. Bounces into the arms of Blackmore. Blackmore dabs it through. Race on here with Vagana, and Vagana did well. Put his body between Blackmore and the ball.
Super stuff, but it was a beautiful kick through by Richie Blackmore.
The last action of this first half. A first half dominated by Richie Blackmore and Leeds. Controlled by Iestyn Harris. McDermott with 2 tries. Cummins with 2 tries. Leeds have run in 4-0 and lead 24 points to 0. Iestyn Harris up against his former teammates. He really is running the show here in the Headingley sunshine. An impressive first 40 minutes then from the Leeds Rhinos. They lead here by 24 points to 0. We look back at the first half in the company of Sean McRae when we return. And Leeds are on their way to victory, you think, leading by 24 points to 0. 2 tries apiece for Cummins and McDermott, and the goals from Iestyn Harris. Leeds aiming for their 5th win from 6 home games in Super League 2 in 1997. They lost by a point to Wigan. That was the one you might have seen here on Sky Sports. They beat the champions, St Helens, by a point as well. And Saints coach Sean McRae is with us here in the studio. It's a fine display from Leeds in the first half, but Warrington, well, I suppose Lee said soonest mended.
If you can't control the ball, Eddie, you can't win games. And also if you can't make the tackles. The 2 things you look for are ball security and effective tackling. It's not just the missed tackles, it's the ineffective tackles that are costing Warrington badly. But they just haven't controlled a set of 6, and you know, they're just going from bad to worse, I think. But you've got to give credit where it's due, and Leeds are playing particularly well. We spoke about Iestyn Harris before the game. A good mate of mine that's playing out there tonight is Wayne Collins, who actually originates from Canberra, and I worked a lot with him for a couple of years. Wayne's a very, very smart leader and directs play very well. And I think he's probably been a better buy than Iestyn this year. He's really giving them some direction, and he's a smart player, understands how to implement game plans. And you see out there tonight, he's leading the side extremely well.
Yes, he is. He's playing the captain's role, isn't he? No doubt about that. He's certainly probably cheaper than Iestyn Harris, maybe.
Well, knowing Wayne, he was always he's not very good on the golf course, so you can always get some money back off him there. But he's a terrific guy and a very, very clever player. And he's added a lot of brains trust to the Leeds side. And the Leeds side you see play this year, a lot more intense, they've got a lot more direction, and they've got a lot more confidence, a lot more flair. Now they've been prepared to spend money. Consequently, they've got this package now, and they deserve where they are on the table. Warrington, unfortunately, just can't match that.
No, they can't, certainly this evening. They're having real trouble getting to grips with this Leeds Rhinos outfit, aren't they? And Steve-O, we've been pretty impressed by that first 40 minutes from them.
Tremendous effort, a really professional outfit and going through a professional job. They're just ripping them apart. The forwards are doing all the hard work. They take it to one side and then they link with Harris, and they're just hanging off Harris. You can't afford to do that situation. And
Warrington should know that, though, shouldn't they?
Well,
Warrington above all clubs.
It's like a magician, you know. You think to yourself, where on earth does that come from? What is he going to do next? And that's the power of the man. He's enjoying himself out there, and it didn't take them long, did it really, to open up the the Warrington defence, and this was absolute superb play. We talk about the forwards getting out wide. Well, look at this. Let's just hold it there. Sheridan has the football. It takes the two defenders, and we'll see the pass out wide, and he will just jink and go in there. And then watch the beautiful play by the centre. This is the step. This is the run. And look at the combination. See how he just turned his body through, make sure that Cummins came back on the inside. They don't come any better than that. But you may have to argue a bit with this prop forward. Now, this was rather funny. It looked as though a prop forward was going to go for the one-pointer. Warrington held off, but full credit to him. Determined run, and he fully deserved that. He left, it was a huge gap. Now then, was this a forward pass? Let's just slow it right down here. And for mine, that's okay. Sterling did well there to hang back. 50-50, it could have gone either way. But the touch judge said no, and no celebrating for Sterling with that record. And then another try from Cummins. This was a beautifully weighted kick by Sheridan, who's having a fine game. His combination with Harris certainly is bringing a lot of rewards for this Rhinos outfit. But I'm afraid the only reward for the winger, Paul Wingfield, after this mistake was that he was substituted. Cummins in for a very easy try indeed. And then the big fella came through again. You can see the influence there of Harris bringing on Hay. Good tackle by Penny, but good refereeing here. He should have given a penalty, but he said, no, let's play the advantage. And this guy was happy they did. Good strength, good finish. It has been a very, very professional performance in the first 40 minutes by Leeds, and I'm sure that Dean Bell, their coach, will be very, very happy with it. He'll want more of the same, because they'll go on that plane to Australia with a lot of confidence after this.
They will. It's been an excellent first half for Leeds, but Sean, for Warrington, I mean, you look back over the past couple of years, their demise is alarming compared to, well, even only that just last year when they finished 5th.
Well, yeah, it has. It's not easy when you're on the roller coaster, and at the moment they're on the downslide. And, you know, I know what that's like because we're feeling ourselves at St Helens, and I think Mike Gregory said it during the week, an ex-Warrington player, coincidentally, that you're only one win away from turning it round, but it's when that win comes. You know, that's something we've been speaking about, and it's obviously Warrington are the same thing. It's trying to get that win and get confidence. Confidence is a very fine line between being super confident and playing like Leeds are and just not having any confidence at all. But you mentioned Yeston Harris before. The thing, and you said, why can't Warrington stop it? The thing that Yeston has is time. And when you give good ball players time, they'll destroy you. You have to put him under pressure. But Warrington just don't have the manoeuvrability defensively to do that. And he's got so much space and so much time, and consequently there's too many missed tackles. They just cannot. They're not adjusting well. They're slow getting up at marker, and it's just, as I say, everything snowballs and it compounds the problem. And what you need a change, you need an ounce of luck, you need a few things to go your way. And I think Darryl Vandervelde himself said during the week he needs bodies, he needs players.
Second half to come here at Headingley. Leeds Rhinos against the Warrington Wolves. It's been all Leeds first half, and big Barry McDermott, the prop forward, is on a hat-trick. So too is Francis Cummins. And the Wolves are on the end of a hiding at the moment. Can they play for a bit of pride? Second 0 ahead at half-time. Cummins and McDermott, 2 tries apiece. Barry McDermott, the big Leeds prop forward. Dean Bell's first major signing at £100,000 from Wigan when he came over here. I think he's just spotted himself on the big screen. He knows we're talking about him. And we're looking for a hat-trick maybe from the big fella in this second half. Well, Leeds totally ran the show in the opening 40 minutes, and Dean Bell would be saying more of the same, so that they get on the jet plane after the weekend and they head off to Australia in good heart. And a little bit like Monday, Steve-O, when St Helens had to come out and play for a bit of pride against Wigan, Warrington now have to do the same.
And it's an equally uphill battle as well, especially with defence like that. I think that picture tells it all, doesn't it, really? It is not a job that many men would want. Darryl Vandervelde has a job, though, to try to get Warrington back on track. It's not going to be easy, though, Eddie, as you say.
That was a super tackle by Hassan on Willie Swan. This is Paul Hume just dabbing the ball forward, but Yeston Harris was almost telegraphed to him. And this is St Hilaire. Now he's run into a A bit of a blind alley. That's good chasing by Tatupu, first of all. And he was helped out by Nigel Vagana. And that's good work from Vagana.
He's got the arm underneath there. He was lucky not to be penalised for that.
But they managed to shove him back 11 metres.
Well, the kick wasn't all that good, but the chasing was.
Wayne Collins going into dummy half. Anthony Farrell now. He is playing well in this Leeds pack of forwards, isn't he, too, Anthony Farrell? In top form, 3 tries from the big second row in 2 games. That's Terry Newton, who was dumped to the floor by Breers. Newton didn't like the challenge. Here's Harris, skips away from Breers. Angled kick again. Tony Thornley allowing the ball to bounce, and eventually does it go over the line? Well, no, nobody blew the whistle.
He had his foot over the line. Well, just touched it with the end there. On the whitewash, he's out. So the referee's right yet again. Took a gamble though, didn't he, Thornley?
He did, he hung around, and Cummins was sniffing his hat-trick there. Now Paul Hume. If anyone can lift the Warrington spirits, Paul Hume can. Stevens, what a collision that was between him and Masella, and Stevens felt that.
Put in a few big hits as Masella.
Lee Penny, another big hit. Richie Blackmore's getting through a lot of work. Now George Mann. Nowhere for him to go.
Good work again by the Kiwi centre Blackmore. Often criticised in the past for not doing a lot of hard work in the defence, but neat kick from Breers. At least gets them into the Leeds red zone. All they've got to do now is try to force Leeds into a mistake, because they'll have the head and feed.
Later scores, London Sheffield kicked off half an hour late. London ahead 8-0, and Scott Roskill has got the try. That equals Hussein Mbaki's career record of 74 touchdowns for London. London 8-0 up against Sheffield. Oldham 6-0 up against Castleford at half-time. And Wigan 24, Paris 8 at half-time at Central Park. Keeping you up to date with Super League, this last weekend of the European competition before the World Championship gets underway this time next week. Masella, good run. Penny, silly, pushed him down as he tried to get to his feet. Penalty.
Sheer frustration, this. He thought perhaps that the tackle had not been completed. Knows it too. Well, he's pulled off some try-saving tackles in the first half, Lee Penny. He had to as well. A bit like Custer's last stand, the way that Leeds were piling into them.
Here's St. Hilaire. Tackle completed by Mark Forster.
Good to see the fullback joining in the attacking, especially out wide. He's not frightened to come forward, Marcus St. Hilaire.
Now Harris in centre field again to Sheridan. Sheridan to Hay, who held on. Under pressure from Stevens though, Hay, and he keeps going. That's a good driving run from the big tall second rower. Farrell dummy half, Harris orchestrating again, Iestyn Harris. Warrington hanging off him once more. Sterling.
Beautiful play on 2 occasions there by Iestyn Harris. First he brought Hay back on the inside, and there you saw him running across the face of the defence.
McDermott takes a short ball from Sheridan, gets away from Roper. He wants that hat-trick. He gives it to St. Hilaire instead. Super run from Barry McDermott, who is having a wonderful season at Headingley, and a great try from St. Hilaire. His second of the season for the Academy International, but put it down to some great work by the big fella, Barry McDermott.
2 runs brought him 2 tries first half, but this is something wonderful by the prop forward. There's the step, there's another step, there's the fend, sucks in the defender, and Marcus St. Hilaire, we mentioned he loves nothing better than chiming in from the full-back position into the 3 quarters and attack. Sheridan, it was beautiful play. He came on the arc around the little halfback Sheridan. Many a centre would have been proud to create the try for the full-back. Never mind a prop forward. Once again, Collins setting it all up. Long ball out wide. Watch out, Sheridan just rolls it across. Two defenders get sucked in and out. There was nothing that Roper could do. That is a fine try. Two lovely steps from McDermott.
So, Iestyn Harris with the conversion attempt, bang in front, not a problem. Dean Bell has seen his side build up a 30-point advantage early in this second half. I think we can almost safely say that Leeds are going to be cemented in second spot as we take the break for the World Championship. Head-high tackle, penalty to Warrington. Lee Briers deposits the ball into touch.
Beautiful stuff there, the fullback Senelea just on hand there. He read it well, but full credit to a prop forward. A little bit of a shimmy there, but the way that he came on the arc behind Ryan Sheridan, the combination between the two was quite superb.
Swan was dummy half, and that's Shelford. This now is Vagana. Remarkable record for Vagana, to be fair. 13 tries, 17 if you include what he scored in the Challenge Cup this year. He is the top scorer in Super League, in a side that really is struggling to find its way at the moment.
Tremendous effort, isn't it? And he was one of the few Warrington players to create problems in the Leeds defence.
Roper, but that's a great chase back by Hassan. Now Tony Thornley. Off he goes into the 20-metre zone. Swan is at dummy half. Briers again. Angled crossfield kick, looking for Forster out wide. Sterling, though, took it like a cultured fullback, the winger.
Under a lot of pressure from Forster there. Great stuff by Paul Sterling. What a season he's having. And look at him scamper away. That really does take the pressure off. Looked a bit high there, but John Connolly said it was okay. Tough little customer is the winger, Paul Sterling.
Certainly is. One or two people might have raised an eyebrow when Dean Bell brought him from Hunslet to Headingley. But my word, he's repaid him. Scored some fine tries. Thought he had his 9th in a row in the first half, but was denied by a dubious forward pass call from the touch judge. Andy Hay! Lovely run this from Hay. Penny's after it. Hay, no! Just ankle tap. Sterling wanted it, and Hay held on, and Sterling and Forster collided off the ball.
He should have passed on the inside, though. It was a good run, though, by the second rower, but Hay had men lining up on the inside.
That's a great kick from Harris, and well claimed by Thornley.
Well, we saw it at the other end, the great catch by Paul Sterling. This was equal to it. Under a lot of pressure by Cummins. The substitute, Tony Thornley, did exceptionally well there.
Shelford, the ball goes out wide to Forster.
Off the foot.
It bounced and bobbled in front of him and came off the foot, as you say, so it's play on. Tatupu. Support arrives from Willie Swan. Willie Swan looking for someone to come with him.
Good high. Let him get away with it. Senelea went very high there, but grabbed on the collar. That's why Connolly let it go.
Stevens to Geraitis. Geraitis with a good run, getting Warrington all the way to the other end of the field. Now this is the best opportunity for Warrington in the match so far. Briers tries to switch the direction of the attack, but is collared by Farrell and by Harris. Last one, they've gone 90 metres, and now they drop it.
Well,
Warren Stevens.
It hasn't been a good day for the prop forward, Warren Stevens, but
he was, to be fair to him, Steve. He was rubbing his shoulder earlier after a real collision. Obviously still feeling it.
2 errors so far within this game. You can see that it wasn't the best pass. Let's not put all the blame on the big prop forward, but what a good run though by Sean Geraitis. A couple of touches from this kid that have really impressed me.
McDermott takes the tackle. Collins, that's a lovely ball back on the inside. This is Sheridan. Desperate defence again. Sheridan's lost it. It's play on. Newton's there, and then I've wondered for a moment then whether George Mann had lost the ball.
Either way, it was pinched away there by Sheridan, but beautiful play. Did you see how Sheridan came from the open side, on the blind side, on a different angle? The tackle by the Warrington defence. Well, full credit. They're trying to keep it alive. It's desperation stuff, really, to Tupu. See the Leeds defence getting into it. It's a knock-on. Little doubt about that. I must say, there hasn't been much that John Connolly, the referee, hasn't seen today. He's had a fine game.
Standing ovation for Anthony Farrell as he makes his way off the field, and also St Hilaire, and it's Morley and Holroyd coming on, and McDermott taking a breather as well.
Bit of common sense there by Dean Bell, the Leeds coach. You know, they've got a rough 3 games down in Australia coming their way, or should I say 2. It's Leeds in the lower half.
Jamie Matthews just on. Spins the ball back inside to Collins. Collins there for Hassan. Hassan keeps the movement going to Harris. Harris coming back on the inside. Matthew is there again. This now is Masella. Matthew once more takes over. Double change. Holroyd, Matthew. Holroyd, Sheridan. Poor pass. Terry Newton had no chance of wheeling that one in.
The idea was there. Sheridan sucking in the defence. Loose forward running out wide. Just didn't keep up enough for Newton to grasp onto it. But scrum down again. Well, they're trying to force the pass. They want more points. They're eager.
And the last of the 3 changes by Dean Bell, Adrian Morley for Anthony Farrell. Morley, there he is in the tackling there. Last man up off the grounded Warrington player, had a touch of flu this week.
Must say it shows you the strength now that Leeds have when you've got the likes of Holroyd and Morley and Matthew, Adam Hughes out there on the bench. Pretty fine players, all 4 of them.
They're in celebratory mood on the terraces at Headingley. Tatupu gets Warrington to the halfway line, though. This is Willie Swan. Vagana. Paul Hume. Another knock-on. Well, it is going, I was going to say from bad to worse, but it's not even as good as bad for Warrington.
Sheer frustration. Hughes was probably thinking he was going to be the dummy runner. It was intended to go for Breers, but Hughes decided at the last minute, at the last minute to try to grab for it. Just a lack of concentration. Not a great combination between the two. As you say, Eddie, it's frustrating times for the Wolves.
Blackmore manages to get the pass away despite the attentions from Thornley.
Well, a bit of battle between the 2 coaches now. Warrington coach Darryl van der Velde will want to get points on the board, and of course Dean Bell, he knows that the game's wrapped up, and he'll be telling his players, just make sure that Warrington don't score. Enjoy yourself by all means, but make sure that that defence is solid. He doesn't want them to score.
I don't think he's enjoying his Super League experience at the moment, Darryl van der Velde, but as Sean McRae said during half-time, it just needs some little spark just to turn it round for Warrington.
Spark? Needs an atom bomb to get this going.
Okay, lads.
Trying to force a pass again. Blackmore overrun it. Well, at least Leeds are going through the routines. Dummy runners running across the face. And it wouldn't surprise me if Dean Bell even thinks about taking the likes of Houston Harris from the field.
The tackling has been superb by Leeds. 12-6 now, London ahead against Sheffield at half-time. 6-2 Oldham Castleford, 20 minutes second half. And 24-18 Wigan Parish. Come back by Parish there at Central Park.
It's got to be a penalty, but he's allowing the advantage. Good refereeing again by Connolly.
The last tackle, they wanted played out wide. Vagana stepped inside Harris. This is Garaitas, and he scores. Credit Warrington for keeping it going. That was a good try scored by Warrington, and Sean Garaitas. That's the 19-year-old's first try in Super League, and it was well worked in the end.
Good play. Second rower, Tony Tutupu, made a few breaks in the first half. Quick play of the ball, and this is where the referee could have given a penalty, but he allowed the advantage. Great refereeing by Connolly. Vagana did all the work, but good support play by the substitute, Sean Garaitas. Well, we mentioned that Garaitas showed a few bits of skill that has impressed me. Nice step from Vagana. Hassan couldn't shut him out. Neither could Cummings. That's a fine try. Hard work. The Tupu took them into that position. Lovely long ball by Breers. That is a fine try. Well worked. Looking for the man inside. He was there. Sean Garaitas will remember this. He's big and he's strong.
And Lee Breers, his nerve holds despite the best intentions of the Leeds supporters to put him off. Leeds 30, Warrington 6.
It helps when you get the long ball out wide. That's when it splits the defence. Super stuff. You can see that they've moved in. Hassan tried to get back. Too late came the cry. That is a fine try too.
Sean Garaitas then, bench for the last 3. He impressed in lower grades this year, and he's earned his chance in Super League. That was a good try. I just wonder whether that might be the spark that Warrington were looking for, or as my learned colleague called it, the atom bomb. That's a lovely ball off the ground to Collins. Terry Newton did well then. This now is Masella. What a big fella this is. What a run. They've got 2 good prop forwards here in Masella and McDermott, and they're both running hot. Now Newton. Leeds stung by that try.
He's had a fine match, Martin Masella. Remember, he made that great break in the first half. He's got through his work, not only in attack and defence. Oh, that's skill, isn't it?
Lovely stuff, and a great ball to Sheridan, who did well. Here's Holroyd. Holroyd to Newton. He ghosts around one. Newton wants the fall. Tipped the ball back inside. Holroyd couldn't get onto it. Neither could Matthew. And Paul Hume does the captain's part for Warrington. This is Thornley now.
Great play, though. Superb football. It was a shame that it had to come to such a bad finish. But the way that they were running the angle there and the support play, this is perhaps the finest that I've seen Leeds play for many a day.
59 minutes of this match gone, and they have a new hero at Headingley. His name is Barry McDermott. He's been withdrawn by coach Dean Bell, but he's now talking to Bill.
Barry taking a breather, but I should think you wanted to stay on and grab that hat-trick, didn't you?
Well, as long as we get the 2 points, that's the main thing. We just keep climbing our way up the table, and hopefully, you know, when we get back, we can carry on where we've left off.
Now, were you really going to go for a drop goal for that second try?
Thought about it, Bill, yeah. No, we just want to keep going. We obviously wanted to keep them out and stop them from scoring, but unfortunately, they've just scored one now. But boys will be pleased if we keep them to the scoreline we've got now. If we don't score again, we'll be happy with that.
And it's a great way to set off for the World Club Championship, isn't it, in this sort of form?
That's right, yeah. We've tremendous spirit here at Leeds. We're like family, all of us. We all look after each other, and it'll be a big boost for us over there. Business down there, though.
You're going to be nudging them to get back on and get the hat-trick?
Well, you know, whatever.
The modest Barry McDermott, and he is that. He's exactly that, a modest young man. He's had a fine game here, and that ball was stolen. That's going to be a penalty and a 2-man tackle.
Not only that, the referee, John Connolly, had shouted held. And he tried to drag him towards there's Vagana, reefing the ball out anyway, but that's where he was held. And you can see that Forster said, let's take it a little bit further.
Anthony Farrell's time on the bench has only been short. He's back on to maybe catch your eye and you're voting for the man of the match. 0891 66 55 25. Ring in now. Cast your vote for man of the match. There's Farrell, first touch since he's come on from the bench, replacing Terry Newton. Morley, the dummy half.
Never played that ball.
Penalty to Leeds. Interference had to play the ball.
Certainly dropped through. Just a little kick. Just see the kick here. Just a nudge with a knee. Was sufficient. Willie Swan. Well, he's been out of the game for quite some time, but he hasn't forgotten the little tricks.
Leeds have decided to run the penalty, and is this the reason why? Farrell, he's got the ball down and gets the try. They ran the penalty, they spurned the opportunity of going for 2 points, looking instead for 6. They have the first 4 of them now, courtesy of Anthony Farrell.
Beautiful play by Wayne Collins, the hooker. See how he just spins around. It was a planned move. Farrell came from behind on the angle. No doubt about that. Full control of the football. Penny tried his best, but look how they used a dummy runner and spins through. Beautiful stuff. Notice how they use the substitute, Jamie Matthew. Jamie Matthew will stand in the gap. There you see him. Boom, come through here. Nothing they can do to spot that. Nice to see those short moves being used by the hookers these days.
4 tries in the last 3 matches now for Anthony Farrell. And Justin Harris. Beautiful kick again from Harris, 36-6.
See how he spins and the way that he comes through. Here he goes. Well-worked move. Little dummy spin around. See how he dragged the 2 defenders. Nothing the Hume could do about it. Neither the fullback, Lee Penny. You don't come any better than that.
Looks like Leeds then will extend their unbeaten run to 5 games. They've lost only 1 of the last 8 before this one. So there'll be 1 defeat in 9. That's great form to take with you to Australia. They play in Townsville and Adelaide. Just confirming Anthony Farrell's re-emergence off the bench. Yes, from the heat of Townsville, Steve-O, to the chill of Adelaide for Leeds.
It'll be near freezing down there in Adelaide. At least they can fortify themselves with probably some of the best wines in the world down that area.
Don't forget, it all starts next Friday. Sky Sports, the World Club Championship. London against Brisbane, from Brisbane on Friday afternoon, and then St Helens against Auckland Friday evening. The greatest World Club Championship that sport has ever seen. 6 teams from Europe in Australia, 6 teams from Australia up here in Europe. It will be a truly wondrous few weeks. That's the first one. The 2 Broncos next Friday, then Saints Auckland Friday evening at 7. It will be sensational.
Well, you can see a man there just getting off the ground. Nigel Vagana, he really has tried hard. Not only with attack, but in defence. He can hardly walk in the centre, Nigel Vagana. What a great effort from him. But to no avail. There's still 30 points adrift.
Harris to Holroyd, and Holroyd dabbed it through. Holroyd's after the 4, and Holroyd gets the 4. Super try from Holroyd. Clever, ingenious play from Graham Holroyd. Side-footed the ball through, chased it, and won the race to touch it down.
Beautiful weighted kick. Long ball out wide. You notice how the defence comes through. Gets it round to Tupu, and he shows amazing strength and speed off the mark. See how he just pushes out of the way Lee Breers, who couldn't do anything about it. Bounced up nicely for him. The brave and adventurous so often get rewarded, and this is the case here. Plenty of skill, speed off the mark was superb. The crowd enjoyed that, and I'm sure he did.
Yes, Graham Holroyd, and Holroyd is taking the conversion attempt, but he misses with it. A little shake of the head. He wasn't happy with that. but very happy with the try, and why shouldn't he be? It was very well worked.
Long ball out wide from Harris, and you notice how the defence expect the kick. Tutupu thought about putting him out, but that was explosive speed. Left the sweeper Lee Breers behind.
13 tries for Graham Holroyd last year. He was Leeds' top scorer. Having to be content, though, these days with place on the substitutes bench, though he had been forming a fairly useful partnership with Yeston Harris prior to tonight. Indeed, the two of them toured on the 1994 Academy trip to Australia.
And I'm sure that the Leeds coach, Dean Bell, will be quite happy the way that Ryan Sheridan and Yeston Harris has combined tonight.
Holroyd, when he comes on and scores tries like that, he gives the coach a little nudge, doesn't he?
That's what they try to do. It took his eyes off the football.
This is Andy Hay. Sterling, is this the moment for Sterling? Yes, it is! Denied in the first half. No one will deny in that one. And Paul Sterling makes it 9 games in a row that he's gone over for a try and equals the Super League record.
Bad mistake. Warrington, Thornley, I think it was, that dropped the football. Swooped on. Out wide. Notice how the Leeds defence cut them down. Bang. Eyes off the football. Nothing you can do about it. Good play by Hay. See how he's sucked in Vagana. In and out. Typical wingers try this. He's got the speed, got the balance. Notice how he just bends the body round to evade the would-be tackler. There's a mistake. Hay does well. Just an in and out. Carries the football with the right, bends with the left. The record beckons.
Paul Sterling, formerly with Hunslet Hawks. Amazing, he was playing in the second division last year. Now he's setting Super League alight. Holroyd misses with his second conversion attempt. 44 points to 6. The ground announcer must be listening to us. He's just announced that it's 9 games in a row that Paul Sterling has scored tries, equaling the record set by one Paul Newlove in 1996. Talk about value for money, Steve-O. Paul Sterling
has been a surprise packet. A lot of people thought that he would struggle in Super League.
He's 32 as well. He's no chicken.
Fine legs too.
I'm getting increasingly worried about you.
Well, chickens don't have arms, do they? Well, that just about sums up Warrington's effort today. Not the best pass. Mann, the former Leeds player, first of the game. Full credit to Warrington. They really have been down in the dumps. Hardly any players within the club to fill in for the injuries.
I must say you fear for them in the World Club Challenge, but let's hope that Darrell van der Velde waves the magic wand and sorts a miracle out over the next 7 days. Harris again into the arms of Sheridan. Back on the inside is Morley.
It's been a great feature of the Leeds attack, is the way that they've run the angle.
McDermott's back and looking for the hat-trick, and the crowd would love him to get it too. He replaces Martin Masella, who's had a wonderful game. Last 10 minutes of the match. Harris. Which way should he go? Oh, look at the step. All class and quality, and mind you, he caught one for his corner then.
Thornley really got into his face. Bobbing and weaving. Here comes the brick wall. Back. But look at the step. The balance of this man is quite incredible. He would have felt that. Certainly into the head. Tough little hombre though, isn't he?
Forster with the run for Warrington. Swan to George Mann. Breers helps it wide. Try scorer. Geraitis. Tatupu.
Good work there by McDermott. Second marker. They're not resting on their laurels, Leeds. They're still working in that defensive pattern.
Don't forget to get your votes in now for man of the match. We are waiting your calls.
Well, this certainly done his bit as Vagana. Nice kick by the centre there. He's tried everything, but to no avail.
Well, Warrington won here last year. It was their first win in 7 league and cup visits. But from the very first minute today, they never looked like repeating that. Scorelines. Oh, Castleford are up against Oldham. 10 minutes to go. Wigan running the points in against Paris. 10 minutes to go, and that would be interesting. If Castleford hang on and Paris lose, Castleford will go above Paris. Whereas London score, remember they kicked off half an hour late at the Stoop.
Well, one of the very few mistakes by the Leeds skipper today, Wayne Collins. Excuse him for this. See that they were very slow to get back in the marking defence. He would have scooted away for at least 15 metres. Little wink to his prop forward saying, yep, I know, I made a boo-boo. Not the best from Lee Breers. Not much chance of the winger getting this. It was down, it was forward.
First tackle too, and Lee Breers holds his head in his hands in anguish. All Wingfield. Well, they have a wee problem at Wilderspool, don't they?
We keep saying it, and I don't think it's going to go away all that easy either. But at least they have brought those 4 players back into the fold.
Here's Leeds coming again. Farrell going without the ball. Adam Hughes getting a hand on the pass from Geraitis. It's play on. Penny to Chambers. Harry Chambers won't pack up till the final siren. 14-13, the handling errors. Leeds just crept up to overtake Warrington, but Darryl van der Velde, if he didn't know when he arrived that he's got a huge job on his hands at Warrington, he does now. Willie Swan, Paul Hume, lovely ball for the lead. Great tackling, Francis Cummins. Forster.
Good play. Thorniley on the inside.
Breers. Vagana. Back to Breers. Wingfield. Good scrambling defence. Hassan. Last one for Warrington. Breers trying to dribble it through. Got a foot to it twice.
Try to.
Vagana. John Connolly just checking, and he's handing it on to the video referee.
Well, they scored plenty of tries this season as Vagana. I don't think they'll come any softer than this. Breer's kick just bobs around, and he has another kick. Bobs out again. Now, is he classed as though he's offside? He was definitely in front of Breers, but did he come off a Leeds player's foot? This is exactly what the video ref will be watching. Well, for mine, he's offside.
The last kick through was by the Warrington player, wasn't it? No doubt about that.
Here's the first kick. Interfered with. Morley couldn't go down, got his fingertips rattled. Vagana said, I'll take another try, but I think you'll find that, no doubt about it, that Vagana is stood in front. And I think you'll find that the last kick from Geraitis doesn't hit a Leeds player. Oh, it does. But was it accidental? I don't think they'll give this one.
Well, Vagana thinks he's scored a try, and he's having a little smile as he looks up to the big screen. Here's the decision. The try is given. Well, there you are. Vagana gets the try. And Nigel Vagana maintains this remarkable record of his as the leading try scorer in Super League.
Well, this is the build-up to it. Let's not take anything away. At least it was an adventurous effort from Breers. There's a second kick. There's a third kick. Now, we've got to assume that Adam Hughes, the substitute, number 23, knew exactly what he was doing. Now, if he knew what he was doing with one leg out like that...
He did make a play for it, to be fair.
Not with his leg.
No, went down for it with his hands and it bounced off his leg.
Either way,
the try's given, and that's a great kick from Lee Breers. 44-12. It won't affect the outcome at the end of the day. There's no doubt about that. Good kick from Breers. The try awarded to Vagana. Nigel Vagana, former junior Kiwi.
Well, he deserves that for his effort alone today.
Yes, he's worked hard, hasn't he? Something maybe that Warrington can build around.
Well, we've seen some nice touches from Tony Tutupu. We've already mentioned Sean Garaitis.
And the lad just restarting, Lee Breers. Liam Bretherton comes on now. 17-year-old substitute in London last Friday night when Warrington were on the end of another beating.
Well, at 44-12, this is the moment that Leeds perhaps can take a gamble. Well, Farrell, that's the second occasion that Jonathan Roper has gone across to him and put him off. Good work, and Farrell knows it. Just took his eyes off the football at the last moment.
Here's Bretherton. Liam Bretherton. He played in the Alliance Cup final in the centres, but Darrell van der Velde sees him, I think, as a stand-off in future. But that now means that Warrington have got 6 teenagers who have taken part in tonight's game.
What a mistake there. There's a foot of the man playing the football, Sean Garaitis, that made Paul Wingfield drop that football. Just hasn't gone right for them. Poor youngster made a mistake in the first half, but it'll steel him for the future. He'll learn from that.
Harris into the arms now of Cummins. Cummins almost away from Forster, but Forster managed to haul him down. Holroyd to Matthew. McDermott. Oh, up the middle he goes. The big fella wants his hat-trick, but he's given one to Iestyn Harris. And Iestyn Harris celebrates the try and scores against his former club. He would have enjoyed that moment, and it was again created by Barry McDermott, who has had a truly outstanding game.
Not bad, 2 tries for himself, create 2. And it's not just biff and barge and showing strength. He's shown a lot of skill. Again, the step there. Get out of the way. Speed for such a big man. Harris, an easy run. Acknowledges the crowd. Plunks the ball down. Effort. That's what it's all about. The work in the gymnasium. Building up that upper body strength. With a beautiful pass. That's rounded off a fine victory for the Leeds outfit today.
Harris, 6 out of 7. This will be 7 from 8. And is 50 points to 12.
Well, I bet the Warrington defence would rather like to have seen McDermott come this slow. But he doesn't. He is big and he is strong. Again, we see the skills of the prop forward, Barry McDermott, come to the fore. Well finished by Iestyn Harris. He's had a fine game too.
Sweet moment for Iestyn Harris, the Welsh international. inside the last minute, and Leeds hit the 50 mark, which means they leave these shores to take on the Aussies in Townsville and Adelaide over the next couple of weeks, and they go safe in the knowledge that they are second in the table behind the runaway leaders, the Bradford Bulls.
Well, another Cowboys coach, Tim Sheens, will be watching this game, and he knows that Leeds are quite a superb outfit at the moment. Well disciplined. It really has been a fine performance.
There's the final siren. The players from both sides shake hands, but it will be Leeds who will get more out of this than Warrington. Anthony Farrell, a fine match indeed. Right the way through the Leeds colours, you would find stars in every department. Tremendous win for this Leeds team. What a difference a year makes. This time last year, Leeds were struggling just as Warrington are now in Super League. Now they are in second spot behind the Bulls and off to Australia in heart.